All right, this video is an updated rendering of Matthew 28:1. This rendering has always been kind of a funk to render, and you could look at some of the other renderings out there. They usually render one of the Sabbaths for the word week, because there's two Sabbaths within this text, right? And I recently found out the reason of the problem is because I found out chapters and verses not in the original text, okay? So where they put it at, it kind of adds a funk. I put a continuation from Matthew 27:66 and so forth. So, and also I'd like to share with you that there's a Greek word for week, which is evdomada, and that's not in the text, because some like to say that Sabbaton or Sabbath can mean week. It does not, especially when you have the Greek evdomada that could be used. Plus, there's two Shabbats in the resurrection week also. The first Sabbath is the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is a high Sabbath. So when we'll read later here in the text, it'll say after the preparation day, right, would be a high Shabbat. So after Passover, which is the preparation, the next day was a high Shabbat, first day of unleavened bread. So let me read this rendering I have here. Have a little more grammar to help. Here we go, Matthew 28:1. And there came to be evening on that annual Sabbath, period. After 3 days later, as it came to be morning on one of the weekly Sabbaths, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. Okay, now I'm going to start with 66 and move through. So they went and made the sepulchre sure, sealing the stone and setting a watch. And there came to be evening on that annual Sabbath, period, after 3 days later, as it came to be morning on one of the weekly Sabbaths, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. All right, there you go. And I do have other renderings I'll show you later in the video here, because I already did a video on that, but I don't think those renderings are correct concerning how to render the Sabbath in this text. But anyway, let me read the Matthew 27, starting with verse 55, to get the context of where this first Shabbat should apply, you know. There you go. 58. He went to Pilate and begged the body of Yahushua. Then Pilate commanded the body to be delivered. And when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in clean linen cloth and laid it in his own tomb, which he had hewn out in the rock. And he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre and departed. And there was Mary Magdalene and the other Mary sitting over against the sepulchre. Now the next day that followed, the day of preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees came together on a Pilate. Okay, let's make a point here. And it's saying the next day now, right? That followed the day of preparation. So Passover was a preparation. This is the next day. This is the first day of unleavened bread, a Shabbat. And you'll see later on when I come to Matthew 28, there came to be evening, there came to be close of that Shabbat, that evening, right? Sundown Shabbat. There we go. That's how I believe it's rendering through. Here we go. Saying, Sir, we remember that the deceiver said, while he was yet alive, after 3 days I will rise again. Command therefore the sepulchre be made sure until the third day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away, and say unto the people, He is risen from the dead, so the last error shall be worse than the first. All right, 65. Pilate said unto them, You have a watch. Go your way and make it sure as you can. So there you go. Getting permission to watch, have somebody watch for 3 days here, right? That day plus 2 more. So let me read that again. I'm going to flow into 66, okay? And so forth. Pilate said unto them, You have a watch. Go your way, make it sure as you can. 66. So they went and made the sepulchre sure, sealing the stone and setting a watch. And there came to be evening on that annual Sabbath, after 3 days later, as it came to be morning on one of the weekly Sabbaths, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to the sepulchre. There you go. It flows. And you can see in context, this first Shabbat that's mentioned in Matthew 28:1 should apply to the first day of unleavened bread. All right? So there you go. This video is about Matthew 21:8, and this is an updated rendering to that, because I did a render before, and I don't believe that's as correct as this, okay? This is the corrected rendering. So here you go. I'm going to show you a cram counter just to get an idea, just as a template. Here you go. You can see right here we got Passover, the first day of unleavened bread, right? Starts 1, 2, 3, and rose on the Shabbat. So I'm just giving this as a template here. There you go. So you got Passover, the preparation, and then it came the next day. They're asking permission. First day of unleavened bread counts as 1. 2, 3, and here is. So there's that right there. And okay, this here was just something I scribbled through when I was practicing with rendering it some. So you could take a snapshot and see why I did what I did. Also, another point too, that the very first word of the text is the word for evening, which is the Greek word ops. Okay, and you can see how I give some options here. You can render it, right? You have evening also. You can see the other way it could be rendered. So either way. So I have evening, also Sabbath, after 3 days later, as it came to be, dawn, morning, toward, on, one of the weekly Sabbath, right? That's what I mentioned earlier. So also I have here, right here, I said the Greek word for week, epthemata, is not in the text. So there we go. We have two words. We have Sabbath and Sabbath. There you go. And we have the break concerning where they put the chapter at. Okay? So here I'm just snapshotting that word for going on tangent concerning the Greek word for week. No, sorry, Greek word for evening. Sorry, Greek word for evening, which is ops. And you can see that it says late in the evening, after a long time, late in the day, extension, close of the day, right? After sunset, the mixture of so forth, which is the evening. So I have here how it's rendered and where it's at. I blew it up for you. You can see where the Greek word for evening is being applied. Okay. Also, right here it says after the end. So if it could be rendered, hey, after the end of that annual Sabbath of the first day of unleavened bread. So I just show how it's being used in the New Testament. So we have in the end, we have evening and evening. So in the end of the evening, of the close of that Shabbat, the first day of unleavened bread. And I'm just showing some other places where the word evening is used. And in the beginning of the book, we have Genesis 24:11, Exodus 38, and Isaiah 5:11. So just giving some other reference for that. So I'm also going to show you here in Deuteronomy 16:9, where you can find the Greek word for week, epthemata. And I'm showing you there's a Greek word for epthemata here. So I'm showing you can find it 2 times here, epthemata. And you can see here the Hebrew word for week, Shabuah, and it's applied here again, Shabuah, so weeks. So there you go. As some want to render the word Sabbath as week, but you can't do that because we have a Greek word for week, and we also know there's 2 Sabbaths during the Resurrection Week. One is the annual Sabbath, the first day of Feast of Unleavened Bread. So here I'm just showing how the King James rendered the mistranslation in the New Testament concerning the word Sabbath, and they mistranslated it 9 times for the word week. I have here for the King James, they have it Sabbath day as 37 times, 22 times, and 9 times for the week. Obviously, somebody's funking the text to get you to believe that resurrection on the first day of the week, and you see where that's going. So I'm kind of going on a tangent here. Okay, here's my previous alternate translation for Matthew 28:1. I do not believe these were correct because the context is showing otherwise. And when I look at all the other verses that have to do with the resurrections, it's pretty clear that the first Sabbath is rendering to the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So these are my alternate ones. Now I'll read a couple here, but I do not believe these are the corrected ones. I have, in the eve of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward one of the Sabbaths, right? Here's another version. When evening came, then Sabbath, at the dawning of one of the Sabbaths. Here's another one. There came to be evening, then there came to be Sabbath. At the morning on one of the Sabbaths came Mary Magdalene and then other Mary to see the sepulchre. So that was my previous rendering, but again, I don't believe this first Sabbath applies to that Sabbath. I believe it talks to the first day of unleavened bread. So that's pretty much it. And I'm probably going to put this link in the bottom, so if somebody wants to print this out. This is basically an overview of how the Sabbath is mistranslated 9 times into the English New Testament for the word week. So that'll be in the bottom, and I have my updated rendering for the Matthew 28:1. So, let's see. Also, it's actually 10 times they mistranslate the word Sabbath. So we also have a mistranslation concerning Hebrews chapter 4:9 here. They translated the Sabbath for rest here, so here's corrected below. Hebrews 4:9, there remaineth therefore a Sabbath keeping to the people of God. So there it's telling you, if you want to be called a people of God, there remains a Sabbath keeping. So the entire context of that chapter is about the Sabbath. Also, too, I just make some notes here about the first day being a Sabbath. Let me read it here. I put note. 2 Sabbaths occurred during the resurrection week. After Passover, the 15th was the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which was an annual Sabbath observance. The first and last days of unleavened bread were annual Sabbaths in addition to the normal week of Sabbaths. So you can find them here. Leviticus chapter 3, 4 through 8, Exodus 12. We have Passover the 14th and unleavened bread 15th through the 21st, right? So I have here the Messiah rose on the 7th-day Sabbath, known by pagan name Saturday, not Sunday, the first day of the week. And I also give reference where you can find the Greek, you can find the Sabbaton, right? The Greek word for hebdomada, which I say it's not above text. And here I give, I put the Greek word for week, which is found in here. So you could find the other references for the Greek word for week. I'm just letting you know you can't make the word week to mean Sabbath. Okay? It doesn't happen here. So you can find it here starting with Genesis 29, 27, 28, and so forth. Exodus 34, verse 22, and so forth. And then I also have here just referencing some stuff concerning the mark of Yahuwah. We have Exodus 31 through 13, and so forth. You know, the Shabbat, Sabbath, is considered a sign/mark between the children of God, Elohim, Abba, Father, heaven and earth. Then we have the mark of Rome, Revelation 13, 14 through 16, and it speaks about somebody who thinks to change times and laws. So that'd be Rome, the Roman Catholic Church, and they call their mark the changes Sabbath to the first day of the week, which is Sunday. So interesting, right? And most of the misrenderings are having to do with the resurrection. So there you go. I'm going to zoom out here again. That went on a kind of a tangent. But again, this was about updating a revised version of Matthew 28:1. So, okay, thank you, and